When I was a child, I was scared of the dark. I swore to my mother I heard evil voices in it, and they were not evil, but they were not familiar, so they scared me. It was not common in the middle of the night for me to wake up and hear whispers, as I called them when asking my mom. She figured they were just bumps in the night and typical kid nightmare material. Tried to often explain that to her it was more than that, but they sounded different from the other ones, the way the voices do. On some nights I would get scared of these whispers, that I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. It was an added bonus that was the bathroom, directly outside of her bedroom, for a late night pee. I should add at this point that when I was walking out into the hall to go to the bathroom, I looked directly down the stairs that led you to my living room on the first floor, as my mom's bedroom was on the second floor. On one such night around Christmas, I woke up and felt that I needed to relieve myself. I walked out from the door and devastatingly heard the phrase, "Look!" At my extremity, a red light, almost like a spotlight, was cast upon the wall at the very bottom of the stairs. The light had no other source, it was by itself. It was transfixed by it. Being a little kid, and it would only be a few days from Christmas, I knew that light was. It was Santa. Who else could get, who else could he get into my house to know I was being a good boy? I was so excited I began walking down the stairs to greet him, picking up my pace after the second step as it began to creep off to the wall and faded into the darkness in my living room. That's when I heard him. A very strong voice, different from first, not like not like my father's. Not to say he isn't a strong, deep-voiced man. It said, "Stop right there. Go, go back up to those stairs." I listened, turned around, and what happened next, I'm not sure. I would believe if someone had told me the same story. After reaching the top of the stairs, I heard a very loud crash that sent me running back to my mom's room, where I jumped straight under the covers and stayed there the whole night. When we awoke the next morning, little Christmas lights, flowers that glue red, my mom had put up on the railing down the stairs. We were pulled straight down to the bottom of the stairs from the unbroken from what we seen, like a forceful tear, lying in a single pile. The dry sink in my living room had fallen from the wall. My mom could not explain it. My dad was worried we had been the victims of a home invasion. My sister was crying. There was nothing missing. Nobody had broken in. There did not seem to be any reason this had happened. And when I saw it, I kept quiet about it because I was afraid that I could not force the words out of my mouth. There on the edge of the wooden dry sink had been facing up. There were 3 indentations where the finish on the wood had been worn off, almost as if it was a forceful grip. Something down there had grabbed it and threw it down. It was the bang that I heard. I was mortified. That day I never heard a single voice again. I do not like to imagine what was waiting downstairs for me that night, if it was anything at all, but I came to tell that to reality was that something had physically acted upon 2 things in my house near the bottom of the stairwell. After this, I had never heard another whisper again, which is sad because in some ways I would have liked to thank the man that had stopped me from going down those stairs. This happened when I was 7. I am now 20 years old, and because of this incident, I am still afraid of the dark, especially shadowy stairwells. My grandfather told me a story about how one time he was sitting in a chair in the front of his house when he heard his wife repeatedly calling him from inside the house. The thing is, my grandfather passed away a few years ago before that. but he told me that the voice was so pressing that he actually got up to look inside the house. As soon as he got inside, he heard a loud crash behind him and turned around to see that the chair he had been sitting in moments ago had been crashed by the cast iron gillet that fell on it. If he hadn't come inside the house, he would have probably been seriously injured. I don't know if it was paranormal or not, but every time I think about it, it sends me chills down my spine. I didn't know what it was called until much later. I was living in the house on Lungana Beach that had been there since the 1920s. In its history, it had been speakeasy, a brothel and a house for smearing illegal substances. One day, my new wife and I were having an argument. I couldn't even recall what it was about. She walked down the block to get a cup of coffee and cool off. I was alone in the house. The way they put the built was incredibly weird. There was a living room, there was a bedroom and a living room on one side, then the bathroom with two entrances on either side of the bathroom was a hallway that had windows on one side and two bedrooms on the other. From my bedroom, I could look across the hall into the bathroom. Then there, the bathroom, and down the hall. I was standing at my dresser and I just noticed something on the corner of my eye. I looked down. There gave me the goosebumps. Just typing it, 17 years later, a black figure was maybe about 3 feet tall. It was only barely humanoid. It looked like black speckles, like something had been trying to form a human shape, but they moved, like electric wave currents on the ocean breeze. This is the best way it can be described. There was no sound that I could remember. I distinctly remember when I saw it, it wasn't afraid, just like, what WTF? When I noticed it looking at me, I couldn't say it turned around, it just focused on me, I guess. Then I was scared. I didn't move, didn't scream, nothing. I was just frozen, because it was just coming at me. It rushed down the hallway towards me. I had no idea what it intended, but as soon as it entered the bathroom, the door closest to me just slammed shut. I screamed. I yelled at my wife. She wasn't home. I went outside into the daylight and couldn't go back in until she got home about 10 minutes later. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't remember I saw something supernatural, but I know it was something that I saw, but I just don't know what it was.